Dynamite Download.
Dynamite Download, your home for all positive coverage on all elite wrestling. Special event, as you can see, SPD about he was born badass.
To see the height and to see the commitment and to see the drive, we'll see yours truly without a signature shade. SPD once again. January recruitment work for them.
I come along in the ring.
You know, actually, I did do that. I was thinking
Dynamite, all three in the flesh.
Have to do an interview with those guys. You know why? Because they spread positivity about AEW.
Welcome to Dynamite Download.
Bro, this is one of those episodes, man. This is one of those episodes that sneaks up on you, man. Sneaky episode tonight, man. This one was
Welcome to Dynamite Download, episode 77. And as Crayfish just said, we did have a sneaky episode that, when announced, obviously we're, it's Wednesday. You know what that means. But this episode delivered, and then some. One of the better episodes of Dynamite from top to bottom that we've had.
You can't say a bad segment on tonight's show. You can't do it. I mean, I don't know, man. It's every single week,
You're right.
The grind gets you, but man, Wednesday nights is you hit the hump day, and it's every single week AEW finds a way to get you that extra boost going into the weekend, man. This is such an incredible company from top to bottom. Tonight's show was virtually flawless.
You're right.
Starting out the show with the workhorsemen of the Pinnacle, which MJF made sure to make very, very clear. People think the Pinnacle's dead. It's only just begun. So seeing the workhorsemen in action to start the show set the bar real high.
You're not kidding.
I loved how JR, he called it after the match. He said, to all the fellas in the back watching on the monitors, you guys in the back, you got a lot of work to do. You're going to come out after this match. I'll say it, man. Two guys who just love pro wrestling. Two guys who take a lot of pride in what they do. Old school Punk and Uncle Dax. And man, this one, these two guys went at each other.
And that's
really
exactly what I was thinking.
Incredible way to start the show.
Just two raw vets just going toe-to-toe to kick off Dynamite in an absolute epic way. The crowd was going crazy for CM Punk. Great way to start the show in a match that was very, very shortly announced before the kickoff of Dynamite. I mean, we had CM Punk's return announced, but we did not have this match. And this could have been a marquee match any night of the week. A main event any night of the week, and
because anybody who's watched Dax go in singles work, I mean, you and I have said it when Cash was hurt, Dax was killing it in the singles competition. His proven tag team singles work, it doesn't matter. This guy can just go.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
He's incredible in the ring, and it's no wonder we're seeing here up on the screen, SPD, a picture-perfect sharpshooter. Dax is the type of guy, you follow him on social media, man, you see it. Dax is a guy who studies, man. He does his homework. He watches the tape, and he's constantly trying to get better. And it shows, man. It shows in his work. I mean, even as a life, like I said it, watching this match, CM Punk and Dax Harwood are two guys who have really shaped my fandom over the last decade, right? I mean,
wow.
Like truly, I love FTR. And I used to talk about NXT a long time ago, back when I was just getting married. I've loved NXT from its very roots, and FTR was really the lifeblood of that tag division there.
You're right.
They come here to AEW, and they said it in the fiery promo against the Gun Club, man.
Gosh.
They said it. These guys are the absolute best tag team on the planet, and I love tag team wrestling. I have so much love for Dax.
They're not wrong.
And I think anybody who loves pro wrestling in the modern era can't help but say CM Punk is one of the revolutionaries, is one of the faces of this generation. Putting these two guys in the ring together, I was geeking out. I mean, I felt like I wanted my son to be old enough to appreciate what was going on the screen, because I would have been nudging him. Cash, this is Dax. These are two of the best in the world going at each other. This one was phenomenal. SPD, one of my particular moments in this match that I really loved, Punk kept trying to go to the top rope, and Dax really caught him with a stiff punch to the face, gave him some brutal chops where Punk was it was clear he was getting beaten up, and then the nut shot, knocking him down, hitting him, and then the superplex. I mean, Dax was going at him in the corner.
That was a huge superplex.
Great exchange. And then to get kind of a catapult power bomb to Punk, where he kind of
love that move.
Punk. Yeah, right. He bounced
one of
Punk
my favorites.
Off the top rope. Boom! That was a phenomenal one. Just countless examples where you could, technical wrestling, like striking. These two guys did it all tonight.
I mean, you said a lot of the highlights, but one of the thing is one of the key words you brought up was chop, and to me, the chop of the night was by Dax Harwood on CM Punk. So I got to give my award to chop of the night to Uncle Dax right there, Grumpy Dax himself. Man, he was delivering those epic chops. That is for sure. But
delivered those chops in style with a beautiful stash. That's an SPD special right there. If a guy's got a beautiful stash and can deliver a stiff chop, SPD is going to be a fan, right?
Fan for life. You have a fan for life in SPD if you have those, right? The two qualifications, check those boxes right there with Uncle Dax right there. But that all aside, the stuff we saw, a little surprised with the Gun Club in the crowd, and obviously we love seeing them on TV anytime they do. They're always, eating it up with the fans, and the fans were chanting the Ass Boys pretty loudly. And
Yes,
when we
were.
talked to Austin Gunn 3 weeks ago, he said FTR was their dream tag team match. And looking into the crystal ball, AEW and FTR, they're probably watching our interview, and they're giving that match, giving these young kids an absolute clinic epic of a match that they're going to have next week. And yours truly, SPD, is going to be down there in Dynamite next week, watching and cheering on the Ass Boys and cheering on FTR for just pure awesome wrestling that we're going to see next week on Dynamite. But what I really loved about that was, the whole thing is last week when we saw the Young Bucks kind of hint at the best there ever was, a little hint there, a little breadcrumb. And then we saw the sharpshooter by Dax, another little breadcrumb. And so, in coming up soon, we're having the Owen Hart Memorial Cup tournament. So I don't know, man, if we're going to be looking into that crystal ball and we're going to see another absolutely legendary addition to, we know FTR are huge Bret Hart fans. Are we going to see that or not? But that is definitely would make waves through the wrestling world already if that were to happen. But as we're talking about waves through the wrestling world, the Hardy Boys are reunited here in AEW in an 8-man tornado tag match. And typically, I don't really care for these tornado tags because there's almost too much going on. But tonight it was so fast paced, so many high spots. Obviously, we saw Jeff Hardy be Jeff Hardy and himself going, 20 feet off of the windowsill and a double table through Butcher and the Blade. This was just seriously like Jeff Hardy and the Hardy Boys reuniting are already making a huge difference in AEW. They're already, going to the extreme. Team Extreme is here in AEW, and it's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool seeing them kind of reunited. It was like a flashback seeing Sting and the Hardys out there. It was wild to see. And honestly, they all looked great. I mean, the Stinger was delivering some amazing. I was loving when Sting was getting fired up. Those Stinger splashes in the corner. He was really going at him, bro. And you get this visual here of Jeff Hardy climbing the ladder. It didn't take Jeff long to bust out the ladders in AEW. I absolutely love it. The crowd was going bonkers. I'll be honest with you though, like you said, there was a lot of action in this one. It was really cool, the blend of story where you got to see Private Party and Matt Hardy's that personal very, very personal feud between those guys where Matt really took those guys under his wing.
Yeah.
That one ended up with Private Party and Matt Hardy. I mean, those guys went off the stage through. I mean, it was brutal what happened there.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you the truth. One of the matchups, the pairings in this match that had me wanting to see more, dude, watching Darby Allin, shocker, your boy Crayfish, choo-choo, shocking that he wants to see Darby paired with somebody. But, man, watching Darby and Big Butch going back and forth, I love seeing Darby paired with a big powerhouse. I know it's controversial because it turns him into a crash test dummy, and I know we could have that conversation a million times, SPD. But I love seeing that visual of Darby and Butch going at each other. Butch looked like an absolute beast tonight. Big. He looks like he's in great shape. And just his look is
scary.
Scary looking. You put
Very
him and Darby next to each other, just a really cool aesthetic too. I just love it. I loved that pairing tonight.
That was a brutal spot. Just ragdolling him against the barricade down the steps like that. That's not a shoot. That's rough.
That is easy to see that no matter how you deliver it, it's gonna hurt, right? I mean, it's gonna hurt. Darby does a lot of that stuff, and so does Jeff Hardy. So this one was a lot of fun. Fans were eating it up. Jeff climbing the top of that ladder and jumping off through Butcher and Blade. The crowd in the back who were watching that just going bonkers. And can you blame them? If you and I were back there, we'd be. Hopefully I would have a couple lifesavers left where I could have a voice because I'd be going bonkers for that one. Just absolutely a cool visual here too, seeing the good guys win.
It's almost like this is the dream team of AEW at this point. Where we're at with obviously the hometown favorite Darby Allin and then legendaries. Yes, Team Babyface all the way. It doesn't get higher babyface than this right now in AEW. Honestly.
And it's interesting because you see the rise of a babyface faction like this, and AEW is doing a really nice job of starting to simmer the potential of other factions rising. Yeah. I mean, the Jericho Appreciation Society is quickly becoming a lot of fun, and they have a lot of upside. You see that building. MJF again reminding us that the Pinnacle is not dead. AEW is at its best when there are stables, when there are groups, when there are teams that are working off of each other and with each other. They do such a good job of being able to create complex storylines, SPD, where having the teams work off of each other but also against each other is really working for the AEW. And I'm wondering who this group will eventually go against because SPD, this pairing worked too well not to do it again in the future. Tony's a very smart booker.
You're right.
Seeing the Hardy Boys, Sting, and Darby, I mean, you put that group in front of any live crowd across anywhere in the country, and the fans are going to eat it up. And all four of those guys know how to get a crowd reaction, right?
You're right, and it also protects all four of them. I mean, we talked about the crash test dummy element of Darby Allin being very reckless. It can protect Sting, even though he's been doing insanely big spots, and obviously the Hardy Boys are known for big spots. So not always having to require them to go balls to the wall, where you have give and take a little bit throughout the group as well.
That's a great point. Protects Jeff's body, protects it protects all four of them in a way that. You're right, and it seemed honestly all four of them need a little bit of that protection.
Sure.
So I really like that call by you. Very smart, could preserve some talent and get the most out of your money, right? Because let's be honest, this roster is loaded.
That's an understatement.
Has so much talent, and there are so many shows that go by where we wonder, man, how do you not have X or how do you not have this guy on the show? How do you not have that guy on the show? And when you get an opportunity to have an 8-man like this, or you have a group of 4 like this, you're getting more faces on the show. It makes a lot of sense, man. Really good booking by AEW.
Completely agree, man. And another one that we were really
great booking. My God, pairing up Danielson and John Moxley.
It is already
what a brilliant combo this is turning out to be.
Yeah, and the match aside, I want to start with the post-match promo because Moxley was just fired up,
Oh my
man.
God.
How he was just so honored to have that badge of honor from Wheeling Regal, and how I loved how he said both these guys are forged in combat. And are they ever, man? They were bringing the violence all match. First off, it was great seeing the Blondes back in action, rocking the long locks myself. But, the only little gripe I have is this match got victim of picture-in-picture kind of early on.
It did.
But then we started to see, some high spots from the Blondes, but then just the offense and violence just took over quickly. And they laid waste to these guys really fast. Moxley and Danielson did.
In convincing fashion.
Very
really.
convincing fashion.
Yeah.
These are ex-number-1 contenders, too, in the tag division. And so I don't know. I feel like there's still so much ahead of Moxley and Danielson, but no matter which pairing you put in front of them, it's just going to be one after another, line them up, knock them down, and it's going to be tough to give them some true testing because they're running at 100 miles per hour, full steam ahead, and I don't know anyone that could slow them down. But it's a lot of fun. And, Danielson already has had such a roller coaster character arc in AEW in this short amount of time. It's incredible. And it's a lot of fun to watch.
Couldn't say it any better myself, man. Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I think you nailed it. I'll move on quickly here to the MJF segment because I think you absolutely nailed that one. I think that Moxley and Danielson are a combo that, I was begging for it when Danielson threw it out there.
Yeah.
Their style works so well off of each other. I love seeing this intensity out of John Moxley.
He's already one of the most physical guys in the ring, and he's turning that up even more.
Yep.
And that's tough to do.
Yep. I mean, I would, if this is the type of pairing where I wish you and I lived in the same town, because I would love to watch these two guys go at it with you on the couch with a beer, because these guys are just your style of pro wrestlers.
You're right.
Strikes, violent submissions, just fight with a tenacity. And Moxley said it himself, sadistic mentality. These guys, they really enjoy, like Moxley said, they found a place where they could dig down deep and enjoy pain. And they just are they have a bright future ahead, these two guys, as far as the potential of them together. Individually, they both are world championship contenders, world championship level talents, guys who are easily some of the best on the planet. And together, it's unbelievable that this is a tag team.
I know.
I am just in awe of it. And even though I am usually somebody who admires the tag division, I'm almost at a loss for words and how good this pairing is. There's and you throw William Regal in the mix. That's what I mean. Like I can't even go on further. You nailed it. Let's get into MJF territory here, because MJF he'd be all over me right now, calling me a little pig, a little squealing pig, talking way too much, because man, MJF was absolutely ruthless tonight. He usually does do that. I mean, we're used to seeing MJF pull no punches, but it was MJF talking about nailing Wardlow to the cross like Jesus.
Yeah, that was pretty
just this guy is willing to go anywhere. Referring to Wardlow as his little piggy. This guy is. I
don't mean to laugh at that, but
truly
it's just,
awful human. I mean, dude, despicable to the point where I feel guilty that I even bought this guy a margarita. I don't even want to. I want to tell him next time I see him, buy your own. You're an asshole. MJF is truly
with MJF coin.
He is, yeah. I can't believe that I told you that was a good investment at one point.
Oh my god!
What was I thinking? This guy is truly as awful as a guy as you can get in this business. And I was going to say the biggest scumbag in wrestling, the biggest dirtbag in wrestling, but I'm going to save that for the next segment, because that there is a guy in that match that was as big of a scumbag as it gets. But let's be honest.
MJF, man.
MJF prides himself on being diabolical. He prides himself on being
He never
master
misses.
schemer. He crushed it in this segment in a ruthless way, to the point where we've been wanting Wardlow. I think the AEW fan base has
were
been dying
popping
to
for him.
see Wardlow get his hands on MJF, to turn on MJF, to finally have enough. You could see it in his face.
This visual, when this was on the camera, where literally 10 guys are holding back and his head looks like he's about to explode, was so fun to watch play out. Like they perfectly had the security guards away from his face, and he's just getting, it's like literally the Hulk when he's turning into the Hulk.
Yes.
It was so fun to watch because, MJF threatening him that he's going to pay him to stay home and turn him into nobody, man. He is going to beat MJF so bad. He's going to force him to release him from his contract, and it's going to be so fun. He's
going to make Max beg for mercy. Oh my God, I can't wait.
Make him beg for mercy and then give him 5 more power bombs and just let the symphony play out over and over again.
Yeah,
but man,
dude.
it was bad. And MJF admits he is the devil. He signed a deal with the devil, and that's ironclad right there, and you're not changing that. So this is very intriguing. I hope it's not true where we don't see Wardlow, because he's getting paid to stay home and getting,
it certainly would add
pushed
more
away by
fuel
security
to the fire, though, wouldn't it? I mean, it would be if MJF kept coming out every week and taunting the War Dog, and I think as he hinted, the Pinnacle is not going away anytime soon. I think he's got somebody in the wings waiting to join his crew. If he finds a way to bring out someone to replace Wardlow, that'll only remind us each and every week, of Wardlow at home and why we want Wardlow to come back. And it'll give Wardlow one more guy who he has to get through in order to get back to Max. I like it a lot. Max is certainly this is one thing I'll add. It's not a coincidence that usually the hottest feud in pro wrestling, MJF is involved in it. I mean, that feud against CM Punk, everybody was buzzing around that. Blood and Guts, the Pinnacle versus Inner Circle. MJF just has
Jericho,
a way.
MJF with the retirement match on the line.
Exactly. Cody versus MJF, when that happened, was absolutely this guy knows how to play the audience like a fiddle. He is so damn good at what he does. It makes me sick to have to give him the kind of credit that he deserves, but man, he is so good. Another guy that I have a hard time giving credit to, guy who I think is on the same level of MJF when it comes to scumbag meter. Maybe not as evil when it comes to outspoken, how awful he can be on the mic, but certainly is self-absorbed and as egotistical as MJF. Adam Cole, a guy who is proven time after time after time after time, it doesn't matter who he has to take advantage of. It doesn't matter who he has to stab in the back. It doesn't matter what he has to do. He will do everything it takes to be at the top. This is one of those guys who, if you're a kid and you watch Adam Cole, you should be reminded of Scar from The Lion King, because this is a guy who would have no problem selling his mother to out for an opportunity to win gold. He has no allegiance to anybody but himself, and he's proving it here, suckering Hangman Page into a sneak attack. This is what Adam Cole does best. He tries to pick and choose his opportunities for success. A real opportunist in the business. And it usually plays out to his advantage. I feel like he's keeping Hangman Page just nibbling. He's cast out the hook, and he's got Hangman chasing the bait, just getting little nibbles here and there. Hangman's got him, dude. He's about to get him hook, line, and sinker. It feels like it's just a matter of time before Adam Cole gets his rematch against the Hangman Adam Page. And you give a guy like Adam Cole, baby, enough chances, he's walking out on top, dude. This is going to be an interesting one.
Hangman's, his hands are tied because Adam Cole hijacked the world title belt tonight. And so I think that was kind of a funny heel move to do, where
Yeah.
you're walking away with the belt, acting like you're the champ, acting like you just won the belt. So I think he's going to keep strutting that belt for a couple of weeks to come, or as much as possible, playing that cat and mouse game. And then somehow, some way, I feel like the Young Bucks are going to get involved in that as well. But this was a funny moment to me, where we had him hijack that belt for sure. So this is, that part aside, I love this match. Love seeing Jay Lethal back on TV. The guy is just, overflowing with charisma. I wasn't too familiar with his work beforehand. So when AEW signed him, I did some recon, but I think he's a lot of fun. I want to see more and more of Jay Lethal. When he had that promo against Ricky Starks, that was absolute fire. I think everything he's done so far today in AEW has really been spot on, and I liked his character work in this match, and I felt like this pairing was really well together. And of course,
I gotta ask you. I mean,
yeah.
you said it. It feels like Hangman's hands are tied. We're getting a lot of comments here, and I wonder, do you see Hangman eventually here having some help against Adam Cole and Red Dragon? Do you see potentially the Young Bucks coming to his aid?
I do, because there's been those seeds
epic.
planted. I think there's those seeds planted. I think it's that time. I think it would have taken a Kenny Omega or a Hangman Page, some of those, true battle tested warriors that were, the OGs of AEW, to make that transition per se. That way, if you do that and put the Young Bucks, the Young Bucks to Team Babyface again, then you could revisit those seeds that have been playing with FTR. FTR is not leaving Team Heel anytime soon. They're so gung ho with that. So you can revisit once you slow play the FTR Young Bucks reprise of that feud, which everyone wants. Clearly the fans were going crazy when those battle royals, when they're going face to face, and then just having the pop that the Young Bucks would get helping out Hangman.
Yes, sir.
Ultimately. So I think now is the time. If not now, you have to do something with Kenny.
I'm with you. I think that would be phenomenal. And I think, like you just mentioned, Kenny was the ultimate. He's the long play, right? He's the
wild card.
He's
the Joker.
The wild. I mean, if you have, while he's gone, if he's gone, and you have the Elite break up, and you see Adam Cole and Red Dragon kind of on one side, and Hangman and the Bucks on the other, and Kenny has to come in to try to either play peacemaker or is torn between two sides. With Don Callis in those segments, with Don Callis looming large over that, that will prove to be some incredibly entertaining television, and the drama and the excitement of all those pieces moving off of each other. Even Kenny coming in with the Good Brothers, and you have three sections.
Can't stand that.
Three sections of trios groups there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All warring over who the Elite is. I mean, there's a lot of potential here. I don't know, man. I love the drama that surrounds the Elite, dating back to the very beginnings of this company. They are the foundation of AEW. We are all Elite Wrestling, and we owe a lot to these guys. I think that they're at the top of their game right now. I'm with you. You get to see the Bucks turn babyface. That could be something really special. We'll just leave it at this, man. This match, Adam Cole, let's get into it. Jay Lethal and Adam Cole deserve a little bit of love for what they did in the ring.
It was great.
I know that you were kind of in the dark about what Jay Lethal was able to do before he got to AEW. And I wanted to keep telling you, dude, watch and see. He's one of those guys. And now he's quickly becoming one of your guys that you love seeing whenever we get the chance. We don't get to see Jay Lethal a lot. But when we do, he's a lot of fun to watch, right? He's kind of the do-it-all type of wrestler. He's physical enough that he can do any sort of technical work. He can do any sort of brawling, and believably, he's still an incredible athlete that can do acrobatics, can do stuff off the top. I mean, he really has no flaws in his game. and he's charismatic and hilarious on the mic too. I mean, he's great
You're spot
connecting
on.
with the fans.
I know. I want to see more and more promos of him, and because I know his promo work is absolutely epic, that I just wish the camera didn't cut because during his Ric Flair strut, and then he throws in his Ric Flair nuances, he throws in his Macho Man nuances, and I want to see more and more Lethal. And I thought this pairing was really great, and a match and a storytelling that I was really, really impressed by. But moving on to the main event for tonight was, before we talk about this main event, I kept a tally. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people we saw on AEW television tonight that have been guests on our Dynamite Download channel. And so that was a lot of fun to be able to see that. Oh, yeah, we interviewed them. And so two of our absolute favorite interviews, honestly, were John Silver and Alex Reynolds. We've had a great catalog of outstanding interviews, but John Silver is someone I've wanted to talk to for a long time, just because he is just over the top personality, and Alex Reynolds is just an outstanding, down to earth, fun guy. And so we are always rooting for Team Dark Order, and they're up the claws, Team Dark Order. And I wanted to see more and more of this match, but it delivered. And, I know Jericho was the workhorse of this match, but John Silver went on an absolute tear in the middle of this match, going through the Jericho Appreciation Society. And it was just, he's so over with the crowd. The Dark Order is, getting more steam, after a while, not being featured too much on TV, but they're getting more and more steam. I feel like every time they get on TV, they're so over. And I agree, in the chat, this is Silver MVP of the show. Silver was my top performer of the night.
Was he?
Silver
Johnny
was my
Hungy.
top performer. Johnny Hungy, main event meat man, was my top performer of the night, just because of his high energy and his powerful offense.
He and Reynolds
and
are
the stuff he did.
How often do we? It feels like every time we see them, their offense is so smooth together. Those guys work like peanut butter and jelly, dude. They're so good.
Peanut butter and jelly or spaghetti meat. If you don't like spaghetti and meatball, you can get the hell out of here.
Well, Johnny Hungy, main event meat man, coming up, in this match, really tough to go against Jericho Appreciation Society. Especially when Jericho breaks out Floyd and hits you in the back. But I'll say this: that match was another example of why Jericho, I believe it. I've said it from when he cut that promo against Eddie Kingston. I said it. Jericho's primed for another big main event run, dude. He is killing it on the mic again. He looks as good as he's looked in a long time, brother. And this crew that he's assembled, full of sports entertainers, guys that are just absolutely a lot of fun to watch. They're just so much fun to watch. Really entertaining. I love it. I love what they got going here. And although we have the sentimental favorites of Johnny Hungy and Alex Reynolds, I was pulling for Jericho and Daniel Garcia. You know how much I love Daniel Garcia. I've said it for a long time, ever since we've seen that dude go in the ring. I want more DG wrestling and now sports entertaining on my television. Although neither one of these teams featured my top performer of the night, I'm going all the way back to the beginning, my friend. I'm going to Uncle Dax as my top performer. Not only did Dax go toe-to-toe with the best in the world, I mean, this was an example where I feel like this is arguably CM Punk's best wrestling match since coming back in AEW. And that, I know he's had some big matches, but when you talk about pure wrestling, they set the bar. I agree with JR, man. They set the bar high in this match. Came out to start the show and absolutely got me invested in the show from the get, dude. I was right away. I was like, okay, I'm in. I was hyped for the rest of the episode. I thought Dax was absolutely killer. Every time I see this guy get an opportunity in singles, I'm blown away because I love what he does as a tag wrestler. But it's obvious, man. He is so dedicated to being good at what he does. that it spills over into his promos. His promos
that was
contain
fire.
so much passion, so much fire. He's intelligent. He went after the Gun Club. He and Cash went after our boys, the Ass
Billy
Boys. Oh my God, Billy Gunn's sons.
Yeah.
Billy's boys. He went after them in that promo. I just felt like Dax delivered both in his segment as a promo. I thought he crushed that promo.
You're
Got
right.
me even more hype for his match against the Ass Boys. And I'll be honest with you, my favorite match of the night was CM Punk versus Dax. So he
I think
more
that
than
was
carried
match of the night easily.
he more than carried his side of that match, dude. I mean, that was hard hitting, well fought. I can go on and on. He absolutely crushed it and reminded me why he is the workhorseman of the Pinnacle.
Hey man, you just nailed it right on the head, man. I couldn't agree more. It was, a tough call for me, with that amazing match to kick off Dynamite, but I guess it was a little bit more fresh because it was the main event meat man, but John Silver, was just a lot of fun to watch. It's one of those, like, as the resident babyface, I'm like, who's always having me, like, even if there is
happy,
happy moments, some cheesy moments, I'm all for those. Eat them up. I eat those up, and Silver not only delivered those, and with a smile on his face too. So I thought it was an outstanding way to cap off Dynamite and start off Dynamite and a solid show. And so, I don't have my tickets
Top
yet,
to bottom.
but still TBD. But
Talk the
I'm
wife
looking
into it.
Trying to go down to
Take advantage.
next week's Dynamite. So stay tuned to our social channel. If I get those tickets, you'll see I'll be making the trip. And if I do go down there, I'm going to try to see if I can meet up with any of the wrestlers like we did it All Out and do some live streaming as well. But guys,
love it.
Episode of Dynamite Download, episode 77, wrapping things up. We thank you guys for tuning in. Love chatting with you in the chat, and enjoy Rampage. Rampage is going to be a killer show this week with our our resident fan, Murder Hawk Monster. One of the ones we huge support versus Dustin. That's going to be an absolute brutal match. And so you guys, thank you for tuning in, and have a great week, and we'll chat with you online.